massive repute from the Esports Pro Series, representing Racing Point Force India magnificently in the virtual sphere, Marcel Kiefer. Woo! Thanks for joining us, Marcel.
No worries.
Nice to have you again. Now, you've been here all weekend. We spoke to you on Thursday. How's the lack of daylight worked out for you?
I'm quite well. It's quite busy. We have a lot of people at our stand trying out the Force India simulator, and it's great to see how people interact with esports and approaching it. A lot of young kids, they start from a young age, and also their parents are involved in it because the kids love it, they love it as well, and it's just great to see.
And how do you go about earning a living playing video games? Because this is something that I'd love to have had around when I was sort of 20 years old or thereabouts.
Well, for some people it's video games, for us it's a job. It's more than a video game because we are living for it. It's like the real thing. We are spending around 10 to 12 hours a day practicing hard on the simulator, testing out the setups, just making sure we are ahead of the competition, because the software that we have is the one that we are going to use in the actual Pro Series. So if we are not going to spend all the time that we have, we will lose to our competitors, or at least mentally. And apart from that, we are also spending 1 hour each day at least cardio in the gym, and every 2 days strength endurance to make sure that we are not getting tired in the simulator, because it's not as physical as the real thing, because we don't have the G-forces obviously, but being in this position all the time, focused, you're getting quite tired, and you have to be able to focus all the 10 or 12 hours.
So it's very mentally tiring, isn't it, when you're concentrating on a driving simulator, because you've got all the same variables as you have in any other racing environment, apart from the G-forces, as you say. Do you do any kind of mental training to sort of build up stamina to do it for so many hours?
Yes, definitely. We have a mental coach who's also our physical coach. I can't share our setups, but we're taking it really seriously, especially at Force India. We are more or less the same like the real drivers, just for the virtual one, for the virtual championship. So they don't make any differences there. We have to do the same kind of work like they do, and they have to do the same kind of work like we do, just in a different kind of area.
And you do a full series, don't you? I was watching recently, there was one, you did a full Chinese Grand Prix. Did I see you up to third place at one point? And I kind of thought this is actually in many ways more competitive than Formula One itself in the real world, because pretty much anyone, I know Brendan Lee is kind of almost untouchable, kind of the Lewis Hamilton of esports, but there's much more of a mix of people competing for podium positions, aren't there, in F1 Esports?
Yes, the main difference is that we have equal cars. So Force India is as quick as a Mercedes, and the opposite around. So every single driver is just down to driving skill and not the manufacturer. And that's why it's so close, and all of us are practicing quite a lot. So the margin is just a teeny tiny bit. So it's really great to see this battling going on. For us it's stressful, but for the media and the public and the spectators, everyone loves it. And you get to see a different kind of Formula One than in the real one, but it's still more or less the same thing. And one thing I have to say is Brendan is not untouchable, but he's a great driver, and I really respect him as a competitor. We are great friends, but I think I can beat him.
Do you know, I'm looking forward to that, because, you know, a lot of people say to me, you know, oh, the Formula One's boring, the same people win all the time. And I say, no, they don't. And then, you know, press release pops into my inbox saying Brendan Lee wins again, and I go, ah! So do you find that? Do you often sort of sit in your cockpit thinking, what can I do to beat this guy?
Definitely, but I'm happy for him. If he wins, he deserves it. I don't really feel like there's any kind of bad luck. You work the luck, you have to put in the work to be lucky, and if you don't put in the same work like Brendan does, you might not be as lucky. So I think he deserves everything that he earned so far, and I really respect him as a great driver, and a lot of people can learn from him, also the future generation of esports. But I hope to be the next one to step in his kind of area and just take over the championship next year.
And you've only been in the world of pro esports for a couple of years, so you've come to it from a standing start. So how tough was it to just jump into that world?
At the beginning it's quite easy because you just have to buy all the equipment and then you can get started. But as soon as you get started, you realize how tough it is, how good these drivers are, and that you're just not privileged to go there and be a Formula 1 esports driver. You have to work yourself up, you have to earn the respect from the other drivers, from the teams, and show that you deserve it, because everyone has the same chances. Like, just a regular person at home can play F1 2018 and be better than me, and I could lose my seat. So it's not like a real driver who has a super license, so everyone can do it. And that's why you have to earn your respect. You have to stay consistent and grind everything out of the game to stay on top.
Now, you're a sportsman. You could have been a pro footballer. You had the opportunity. You had a tryout as a goalkeeper. Do you look at the example of other people like Jan Mardenborough who've made the transition from virtual racing to real racing and think, maybe I could do that?
Yes, definitely. But at the moment I'm focused on esports. If there's the opportunity to go into real racing, I will definitely take it, because I'm a racer in my heart. So it would be great to be the first ever F1 Esports driver who makes it into Formula 1. And yeah, so if there's the opportunity, I will go for it with the support of Force India. And yeah.
Now you've got a stand here representing Racing Point, Force India and Ravenol with a simulator. So anyone can turn up, and is their aim to beat you? Have you set a reference time, or have you stepped back a little bit from that?
I mean, I'm a tiny bit scared, but I set a reference time so people can see how quick I am and how far they are off. We have a leaderboard, and the top 10 will get the chance to win a Force India factory tour, so it's quite cool and it's worth giving it a go. But the competition is quite strong, so it's not easy. You also have to earn yourself your spot. But yeah, if you want to have a go, just check us out in Hall 3, the Ravenol stand. It's a great time there and a lot of people are there, so it should be quite cool.
Hall 3, I might take you up on that, because I know the fastest way around a virtual course is to take your shoes off, and I could quite do with half an hour out of these shoes after a full 4 days at the NEC. So Marcel, thank you very much for joining us.
I have to thank you.
And I might just go try and give you a race later over at the Ravenol stand.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Marcel Kiefer, the legendary esports, the man who's going to knock Brendan Lee off his perch.
Yes.
Thank you, Marcel. So yeah.